Hey guys, my name is Gabe and this is episode 27 to Let's Make Rust. And in this episode we're going to be working further on our inventory, and we're going to make it so that when we hold left click on our inventory item and we drag, you can see that our item begins to move, and we let go, it's going to snap back to its position. We don't have yet going to new objects, or excuse me, new slots. We're going to get that done in the next episode, but stay tuned and enjoy. Alright, so to get started, we're going to have to make sure that our inventory only opens when our pause manager says that we're paused. So we're going to go to our scripts here, and we're going to go to our miscellaneous, and I believe this is where our pause manager is. So we're going to open that up, and we just want to make sure that is paused is public. Okay, great. Inventory over here. Alright, so I'm going to go over here, and we're going to do if input.get key down. We're going to have to make sure that we are also not paused. So I'm going to create a private pause manager, and I'm just going to call it pause manager. And here we're going to find it. So find pause manager, and inside of here we're going to do pause manager is equal to game object dot find game object with tag pause manager dot get component, and we're going to find it. Okay, cool. So that works, or that should work. So now we have to do here if input.get key down p and is paused, or right, we have to do pause manager. So we have to do pause manager that is paused is equal to true, or equal to false actually. So we're not paused. Then we are going to, okay, I put this in the wrong place. That's not what I meant to do. That was ridiculous. We have to put that here. Okay, so if we try to open our inventory and we are not paused. Okay, so now if we hit tab, you should be able to open that up. And if we're in the pause menu, you shouldn't be able to open your inventory. And okay, so that seems to work. But now we have to make sure that our cursor manager knows that we are in our inventory, and we also have to stop moving the camera. So I believe we have a cursor manager here. Yep. And we're going to do right here private void hide lock cursor. Okay, there's something that I kind of want to change. So let's see here. Where do we change things in our cursor manager? So we're gonna have to do here, let's see, resume game, exit game. Okay, these are just buttons. I don't think we use the cursor manager, do we? I mean, we have to. This is strange. Okay, so let's just go here, go to our player, or let's see, we should have a cursor manager object. So cursor manager, it doesn't even have a tag. Okay, so I'm guessing that we're not even using it. So if I were to, for some reason, disable the timescale here. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. So if I were to disable our timescale and hit play and pause. Okay, so the reason I guess we're not moving anymore is because of the, I guess that's the timescale that's controlling that. So I'm just going to enable that again. And in our cursor manager, I want to make these static. So we're going to do public static void. And we're also going to do here a public static void. So we're going to be able to access these without having the script instance in the game. So over here we can actually just remove our cursor manager object that we made. Okay, so now we're going to do, once our inventory is open, so when we open our inventory, we're going to do, let's see here, we have to make sure that it is open. So if inventory, or not inventory, is shown, okay, if is shown is true, then we're going to do cursor manager dot hide block. So if it's shown, we're going to do else if is shown is equal to false. This is actually where we have to do cursor manager dot hide block, and here we have to do, I believe we called it show unlock. Okay, so if we could see it, if we can see our inventory, we're going to have to show and unlock our cursor, and if is shown is false, we're going to have to hide it. And also over here in our pause manager, I want to do, once we pause, I want to do cursor manager dot show unlock cursor. So this is going to show cursor, and over here I want to do cursor manager dot hide unlock cursor, which is going to hide cursor. Do we have other things in our cursor manager? I believe. Yeah, okay, so that's being controlled in the cursor manager, which we don't want. So I'm going to remove this. Actually, wait, what do we have in there? Yeah, okay, we don't want that. That's not good. So we're going to remove all this stuff. And that has to be controlled from the pause manager. So now if we hit play, everything should work the same. You should now see your cursor. If we pause, we don't see the cursor. Ooh, what is happening? Okay, what if we close our inventory? So open, close, open, close. That's really weird. Okay, that's because we're in update. So I want to take this out, and this is also going to get taken out. And this is going to have to happen when we hit our key. So if is paused is equal to true, then we have to show, or we have to do cursor manager dot show unlock cursor. So show cursor, else if is paused is equal to false. We're going to do cursor manager dot hide lock. And we also want to probably disable our we probably want to close our inventory now. So we're going to do private inventory, and I'll call this inventory. And in start, we're going to do, let's see, get inventory. So we're going to do inventory is equal to game object define game object tag inventory dot get component inventory. Do we have a tag for inventory? I don't believe we do. Yeah, we don't. Okay, so we're going to have to make sure that we add a tag. We're going to call this inventory. Now we're going to go back to the object and assign that tag. And inside of the inventory script, we have to make sure that is shown as public. Okay, and it is. Great. I think I already checked that earlier. It's strange. Okay, and over here, I just want to get blur script. And I kind of want to move this up here just to kind of organize this. Okay, and instead of the at sign, I want to put at. That looks kind of strange. It looks kind of out of place there. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that comment. Let's replace it up here. And okay, so that should be fine. And once we open our pause menu, we want to do inventory dot is shown is equal to false. So hide inventory. Okay, maybe we should have, instead of doing instead of here inventory.object is set active. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't make sense to have multiple methods for that. So this should be fine. So let's test this out. Once we open our inventory, oh god, okay, once we open and close our inventory, you should see now our cursor goes away. Open the inventory, we have the cursor, but now we have one more problem. We have the camera, it is still moving. So now we have to get the camera from the player script, and we have to kind of disable it. So if I go to the player here and go to the camera, we should have a, okay, so that's not part of the, yeah, that's not part of the camera. That's actually that is actually controlled inside of this first person controller, which we are going to change because this this controller isn't so great. We're going to be using the regular FPS controller. So I don't know if we're going to do that today. Because once we fix, once we implement our new controller, this problem will be fixed. So we're just going to leave this problem like this for now. That's going to be fine. We'll just fix that later. It's no big deal. So we'll just leave that alone. until we replace the player controller, which we should do right after we do the inventory. Okay, so that is working fine. And let me see what else I wanted to do today. So we're gonna have to do, okay, yeah, right. Okay, we're gonna fix the add weapon error. So as you saw last time in the episode before this one, we did add item here, 0, and it gave us an error. And the reason it's causing this error is because we're getting some sort of null reference exception inside of the add item method, which doesn't really make sense. It's not finding item database, even though we do find it at the start here. So we're going to have to copy this, and we're going to do, right, instead of add item, we're going to do if item database is equal to null, and we're just going to put that inside of there. So this is going to find the item database if it is null. And then it should continue and work from there. So props to Sam UT for finding this error, and yeah, so that should be fixed. So if we go to start and we do add item 0, you should see now once we hit play, we don't get any errors anymore, and we open up the inventory, and that's a little strange. Copy this a couple times. Oh, okay. We're adding items before we create slots. Wait. That could have been like the problem from the, I'm not really sure. That could have probably been the whole problem, is that we were doing it before create slots. Okay, anyways, we're going to do add item 0. And once we hit play, you should now see in the first slot we have a Glock. So that's working fine, exactly as we want it. Okay, so I'm just going to hide this. Great. Oh, that's actually not such a good idea to put it there, because it's always going to make, on the start, it's always going to make sure it's null. So I'm going to put it here, so add item 0, and then I'll kind of comment it out so that we can see that it works. Whenever we want to, we can just uncomment that for testing purposes. Okay, so last thing I wanted to do today was I just wanted to do dragging of items. I want to make it so that we can drag the Glock, which we would have in here, into another slot. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to open up our slot effect script. And I don't like that it's called slot effect, so we're just going to take that away. And we have to now rename it. So it's just going to be slot. And hopefully we don't have any errors. So if we go to slot, oh, excuse me, sorry. Okay, so if we go to our slot here, you should see we didn't have any things attached to it. So we shouldn't get any errors just by renaming the script. And okay. So now in here, we want to add a boolean. So I'm going to add a boolean, a public boolean, and it's going to be called isSelected. It's going to be false. I'm also going to hide this in the inspector. So hide in inspector. And we're going to have to add a few things. So we're going to do iDragHandler. So I think we're going to do it iBeginDragHandler, iDragHandler, and iEndDragHandler. And we're going to have to import these methods. So we're going to implement interface, and that should do it for each one of them. Or not. Did it? Yeah, okay, it did. No, it didn't. What am I looking at? So we're going to have to import this one as well. So implement interface, and the last one. What am I doing? Okay, that's the problem. It's too long. Something like that. And we're just going to remove these exceptions. So this is just going to give us an exception if we're not using this method, which is unnecessary at the moment. And let's see, how are we going to do this? We're going to do onPointerEnter. We're going to do isSelected is equal to true. And once we leave the pointer, or once the pointer leaves, we're going to do isSelected is false. Now this is going to work with our drag and drop. So we're going to basically loop through each one of our slots and make sure, and we're going to find the one that says isSelected, and the one that is selected as true is going to be the one that we're going to add our item to. You'll see that work out in a second. For now, we're going to create a private transform. And this is going to be called our item child. Okay, so our item child, and we're going to have to get that item child. So we're going to do private void get item child. We're going to do a for each, let's see, transform child in transform. And we're going to do child child is equal to item child. Okay, so now, oh, what's happening here? So, can't assign child because for each iteration variable. Okay, so, oops, okay, I did that the other way around, so item child is equal to child. Okay, so that should work now. And once we begin dragging, we're going to want to get item child. So let's see here. We're going to debug.log item child .name once we begin dragging, or actually we'll do that on begin drag. So if we hit play now and we start to drag on this, you should see we get a null reference exception, and that's because we're debugging the item child name, and the item child does not exist. It's empty. So we're gonna have to do we're gonna have to always have a check. So if item child is equal to null, we're gonna have to return. So we're gonna have to break out of this method. Okay, and if we don't return, we're gonna have to start dragging the object. So we're gonna do item child dot transform dot position is equal to event data dot position. So what this is doing is setting the item child transform to our event data position, which is our mouse position. So if we hit play, right, okay, we have to add an item first. So if we start to drag, you'll see that we don't get that error anymore because we're jumping out of on begin drag if item child is null. Otherwise, it's going to skip this and we're going to set its position. So let's see here. We're going to have to, what am I doing? Right, okay, in inventory we're going to have to add the item, and I'll add a couple. So maybe we don't even have to do that. I could just hit P. I forgot that I have that method. So if we open up our inventory, hit P a couple times, and we start to drag it, you could see that it kind of moves it, and that's because we're only affecting this in on beacon drag. So we're going to have to copy all this stuff here, and we're going to do on drag. So this should work because this is called right after on beacon drag. So if I hit P, start to move the Glock, you could see that it is moving, but it's behind everything. So that kind of sucks. The reason this is happening is because the parent of this is the slot, and we basically have to set it to our slot parent instead. So we're gonna do here. Instead in our item. Well, I'm kind of debating where we should do this. It'd probably be best just to do this in slot. So we're gonna do private transform start parent instead of original parent. We're going to do start parent. I feel like that makes more sense. So we're going to do in our start, we're going to do start parent is equal to transform that position. Okay, or just transform, I believe. Yeah, okay, right. Making mistakes already. So on pointer enter, let's see, on our drag right here, we're going to have to set the parent. So set new parent. And we're going to do item child dot transform dot set parent transform dot parent dot parent. Now what's happening is we're accessing this transform's current parent and its parent, right? So on end drag, we're also going to want to do, so on end drag, we're going to have to do item child dot transform dot set parent to our start parent and then we're going to have to reset its position. So itemChild.transform.position, or .local position, we learned this from the last episode, so local position is equal to vector2.0. Okay, so reset position, and we're going to reset parent. Oops. So reset parent. I do believe that should be a capital C. Oh, what are we doing? Child that transforms the local position. That's 0. Why is that not working? Okay, right. Okay, I put parameters there for some reason. Okay, so this should work once we start dragging our object. So if I hit P and drag our object, you can see it goes over everything. When we let go, it just places it right back. So it just snaps it back, and that is working. It's working pretty fine, and I don't know why it's not accessing the... Okay, I think I know what's happening here. We're going to have to ignore the raycast for our item. So let's see here. Let's go to our prefabs, inventory, and item. And we're going to have to add a UI, I believe it's UI, effects. What was it called? I forgot the name of it. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to have to add a canvas group to this, and instead of canvas group, we're going to have to uncheck blocks raycast. So the reason our other objects weren't being selected is because, like it is now, you could see that we have the white outline. The reason this wasn't happening before is you could see our Glock is right under our mouse, and that's kind of blocking the raycast from our mouse to our slot objects. So now it's not doing that anymore because we unchecked block raycast, so this is going to allow the raycast to pass through this object, and you can see that when I mouse over these objects, their slots are becoming isSelected. Alright, so we got the Glock to basically, we got it to move around in the inventory, and when we let go, it springs back to its original position, which is working pretty well. And so next episode, we're going to make it so that we can move the clock to another object, to another slot, and that's going to work pretty well. Good system built for that. And we're also going to make it so that what else? We're going to make the new player controller, because I actually want to get that. I actually want to get the new player controller so that the mouse can actually move without the camera moving as well, because that's pretty annoying. So we're going to get that done as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, or go to Twitter and ask me there. I'll be sure to answer as soon as I possibly can. So subscribe for updates, and have a good one.